Have you ever wanted to build your collection, learn a valuable skill, all at the same time immersing yourself in the Pokemon card market and having some fun in the process? Today I'm going to offer you 5 tips on starting an eBay store, something that I see as a necessary step for any collector to help build and sustain their growing collection. Anyway, guys, I'm Pokemon Classics, and let's roll into it. Hey everybody, what's up from Pokemon Classics, reminding you that the classics never go out of style. Now you may be asking yourself, why should I start an eBay store? That seems like a lot of work, maybe it's just new and scary and unfamiliar, but there are a number of reasons why I think this is beneficial to a lot of aspiring collectors out there. The first of which is this is a great opportunity to build your collection. If you're running an eBay store, you're keeping up with all the current market trends and perhaps buying some items, some of which you need, others of which you might flip later, and that self-sustaining cash flow can often be reinvested back into the hobby to grow your collection. I know this strategy has worked for me and a number of collectors in the past, and there's no reason that it can't work for you. Another reason is this is an opportunity to learn some valuable business skills. Running a small business is something that I think a lot of people miss out on, whether it's tracking inventory, keeping up-to-date prices, learning how to file invoices, shipping, packaging items. All of those things are practical skills that can be applied to other places in life. Lastly, and most importantly, this is a great opportunity to enjoy the hobby. I know for me personally, I really enjoy collecting cards and having them come through my inventory, sending cards for grading, just having my hands on as many cards as possible and building my own personal collection along the way is a great experience. It's allowed me to meet new collectors, help customers find things that they're after, and then in turn, those connections help me find the cards that I'm after. So I think it's all about immersion in the hobby, and that's not enough reason to start your own eBay store. I don't know what is. Anyway, if you're interested in doing this, I have 5 tips that I think will help you get started. Let's check out tip number 1. Now the first tip is a big one, and that's to have a selling strategy. Now, there are a number of ways to successfully operate an eBay store, but one of the very first considerations one has to decide is whether you want to run auction-style listings or fixed-price-style listings, each of which has their own advantages and disadvantages. In my experience, the primary difference between an auction-style listing and a fixed-price listing is a matter of liquidity and value. When it comes to those auction listings, you're almost guaranteed a quick turnaround of liquidity as those items are going to sell within the specified auction timeframe, whether that be a week, 10 days, 14 days, whatever type of listing you're putting up there. For many people, that type of cash flow is preferable. However, it does come with the distinct disadvantage that oftentimes auctions yield lower prices because of the timeline that they're set to. On the other hand, a fixed price listing is going to be beneficial for those that are patient and willing to wait on their cards for a while for the right offers to come in. This is my preferred method. I'm not the type that's super eager to turn around my cards and to sell them at prices that I just wouldn't be happy with. Now, I know this data is just anecdotal, but we have the same exact card sold 2 different ways within just a few weeks of each other. A first edition PSA 9 Gengar from the Fossil set. The auction price for this one, with quite a few bids, went for $390. On the other hand, the patiently waiting fixed price listing sold for $475. Again, this is just my personal experience, but in most situations, there's going to be a bit more of a premium for those types of cards using the fixed price listing versus the auction listing, though of course, you might have to wait for a while. Another important consideration as part of a selling strategy is in what way are you going to sell items? Are you going to sell lots or complete sets, or just single cards? Are you going to sell graded cards, or are you going to be selling cards raw? Each of these have their own optimized strategy, depending on which path you choose. Now, when it comes to selling cards as lots or complete sets, there are some distinct advantages. The first being that it's significantly less maintenance to deal with, whether it's taking fewer photos, answering fewer questions, preparing fewer listings, and dealing with less shipping and packaging and deliveries to the post office. For a lot of people, that level of convenience is a great way to get started with an eBay store. On the other hand, you are often sacrificing value if you're selling cards collectively as a set. Consider it like selling wholesale, where there's often a larger discount for the more items that are purchased. And I think the reason for that is often there are a few cards within a set or a lot that a buyer's legitimately after, and the others are just extra, they're secondary, they're tertiary to their actual collecting goals. There's also a noticeable difference when it comes to selling graded cards versus selling raw cards. Now, graded cards require quite a bit more knowledge, time, and initial investment up front, especially if you're grading the cards yourself. On the other hand, these cards often command a higher premium. Now, I know this is just anecdotal. However, a PSA 6 Shadowless Blastoise recently sold for $310. At the same time, we could find a roughly PSA 6-ish equivalent on eBay for about $175. This difference in price is mainly attributed to the cost of grading, the time that you have to wait to get it back, as well as the skill that comes along with pre-grading and accurately assessing condition. And I know for me personally, I still have cards at PSA from almost a year ago. Time is money, so that's one thing you should take into consideration when determining how are you going to set up your eBay listings. I really can't stress this enough, but take detailed photos of everything, both the front side of the card and the back side of the card, and be careful to disclose any and all flaws to the potential buyer, both in writing in the description, but as well as in the photos. As we've talked about on this channel a number of times, condition is everything. When it comes to determining condition, there are really four primary factors: the surface area of the card, the centering of its borders, the corners of the card, and the edges, both the front side and the back side. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about grading and all of the different criteria for each grade. I've already done a video like that, which I'll leave in the description down below if you're interested. This is a universal truth that I try to abide by, but I believe that transparency is the obligation of the seller, and it really is beneficial to both parties because transparency will save you time and it'll also save you money on the back end. Buyers might have questions if your photos aren't very good, looking for more photos or further definition of what the condition is actually like. Similarly, if you're not fully disclosing the condition of the card, you might get an item not as described case and a potential return, which again is going to cost you time and money. So it's in everybody's best interest to fully disclose what the card is actually like. Now, this is particularly important for raw cards. With graded cards, you already have a third-party, independent assessment of the condition. However, with raw cards, your buyer's taking your word for it. I don't know about you, but I like to be a man of integrity, and to me, reputation is absolutely important, especially in this community where I have friends and a place where I pride myself on being highly involved in. That reputation means a lot to me, and I don't want to ruin that by not fully disclosing what the card is actually like. To that end, I would highly recommend investing in a light box for product photography. Now, these are really cool little cubes that Velcro themselves together. There's LED lights on the top for nice even lighting, interchangeable color backgrounds, and little holes to run a camera through either the top or the side, guaranteeing you're going to get some good product shots that are well lit and easy to work with. This is actually the one that I use. It's a newer brand light box, and it's not very expensive. It's about $113 on Amazon. I'll leave a link down in the description if that's something you're interested in, but it's something that I find pretty convenient, easily storable and portable, and makes for good photos every single time. Of course, you don't need any fancy equipment to begin selling on eBay. Even a standard cell phone is more than capable. Just make sure you're getting shots from different angles, as well as with a good lighting source, and you should be fine. Tip number 3 is another important one, and that's to understand your shipping options. Now, when it comes to selling cards on eBay, there's really 3 primary options. One is the eBay standard envelope, one is first class mail, and then the last one is priority mail. And each one of these has its own distinct advantages and potential liabilities, depending on the value of cards that you're selling and the time turnaround and level of protection you're seeking. The first option is relatively new, and that's the eBay standard envelope. Now, this option was designed specifically for raw cards that are valued under $20. That's the maximum protection that's on this option. Now, these are just a standard envelope, so when choosing this option, you want to make sure to put the card in a top loader or perhaps a card saver, something where it's not going to get easily bent. Again, that lower value card tier is what typically this is marketed towards. Now, the cost of this is perhaps the biggest benefit in that it's under $1, and I believe you can fit up to 2 top loaders with cards in it per envelope. So that's a pretty good deal, though again, the protection, the insurance level, and the shipping time is maybe not as desirable or robust as the other 2 options. Option number 2 is the first class bubble mailer or package. This is actually my preferred option when sending mid to high value raw cards. I like to put them in cardboard along with a top loader or a card saver, sandwich them in there, have the bubble mailer packaged around it. And even for a $3 to $4 value on shipping, that's not bad. You can provide up to $5,000 of added insurance protection if you choose to go that route. Signature confirmation is also an add-on that could be purchased, and you have pretty robust tracking with first class mail. In addition to that, the shipping time is generally between 2 and 5 days, so it's a pretty good value for the price that you're paying. Finally, we have priority mail, which is my personal preference for shipping graded cards. Not only do you get all the same benefits of first class mail with the tracking, the optional signature confirmation, and the optional insurance, but it's even a faster delivery turnaround, estimated at between 1 and 3 days. However, the thing that I like most about priority mail is the optional flat rate shipping boxes. You can pick these up from the post office, and whatever you fit in the box, you can ship. It's not determined by weight, but rather one standard rate. And so what I like about these is I don't like to entrust graded cards into just a bubble mailer that can easily get stomped on, crushed, broken, which we've seen a number of times from other collectors. Instead, I like to package it in bubble wrap and then have it in a box where it'll be much safer and have a good delivery time. So that's my preferred option. You can even fit a couple of graded cards per box if you're going to combine shipping. But I'm willing to pay that extra little bit of price to ensure the high quality service and the peace of mind of not worrying about any damage in transit. So those are the options. That's the way I use them. But the more you get to know those different shipping methodologies, not only can you save money, but you can also avoid having hardship on the back end if anything were to happen with your parcels in delivery. Tip number 4 is to calculate your expenses. Now on eBay, there's a number of different subscription options when starting a store, and these may be advantageous depending on how many listings you're expecting per month, as well as your expected gross sales. The first of these options is the starter store, and coming in at just $7.95 per month, or a discount of $4.95 per month if you're going to pay the whole year up front in one transaction, that's a pretty good value. Now this store option gives you 250 listings a month, whether they're auction style listings or fixed price style listings. It could be a combination of the two. And for most people, that's more than enough. Now, that's really the only advantage to this type of store. It's really your starter store. That's why it's called that. And the final value fee on any items you sell in the trading card collectibles category is going to be 12.35%. Just keep that in mind that there is a fee you have to pay on whatever price you end up selling. Now this final value fee does drop slightly if you upgrade to the basic store, the premium store, or the anchor store, where it's only 11.5% rather than that 12.35%. Now this doesn't make a substantial difference for most people unless you're selling about $30,000 worth of items per year, and that's because the higher price that you're paying for the subscription. A basic store, for example, is $27.95 per month, and then again, if you want to pay the full year up front, you get a little bit of a discount where it comes in at $21.95 per month. Now this is the level that I personally use, and I think for most people watching this video, you're probably not going to want to go beyond this into that premium, anchor, or enterprise store. So depending on how many listings you're looking at, more than 250, less than 250, as well as how much those cards are actually selling for, will help you determine which of these options is best for you. Of course, there's a number of other expenses in addition to the store subscription that shouldn't be discredited. First, there's the time that it takes to take photos, to maintain listings, to answer questions, to drive to the post office, to package items. Then there's the actual packaging supplies like the printer ink, the packaging tape, the bubble mailers. Then there's also the improvement costs and the time spent grading cards or paying those grading fees, return shipping, and there's taxes. This is something that really can't be understated, but when it comes to selling something, you're generally withholding 30 to 35% of the profit for tax purposes. So that's an added expense that we really can't forget about. Finally, tip number 5 is to educate yourself. Now, personally, I believe that the best way to learn is through experience, and running an eBay store has brought me a greater awareness of the whole Pokemon market and a better appreciation of the hobby itself. Whether it's from having cards come in and out of my possession and growing my experience as a collector, learning more about market research and trends and data, or even just learning the platform of eBay and what it really means to run a business. Because as we've seen, the Pokemon market is such a diverse and eclectic mix of people with varied passions and interests. Whether it's raw cards, graded cards, or investment level cards, each one of those is its own microcosm of activity, and the more you immerse yourself into your preferred market, the more fun you're going to have with the hobby, and the more you're going to learn about those cards. It's also entirely possible that you might find yourself branching out into new interests, new hobbies, new collectibles yourself that you otherwise wouldn't have. I know that's the case for me personally, that running an eBay store and pulling in new inventory, selling other stuff, has inspired new interests and love and passion of cards and sets that I otherwise wouldn't have experienced. So I think there is an advantage to being involved in the market, both as a buyer and as a seller. As I said in my initial thesis earlier in this video, I think everyone is capable of buying and selling on eBay and running their own store. And maybe it is right for you. Maybe this will be an opportunity for you to build and grow your own collection and fund future purchases. Become more self-sustaining. If not that, running an eBay store might be a great opportunity for you to learn some valuable skills about business that you can apply to other areas in your life. And most importantly, having that exposure, having that opportunity is another great way to enjoy the hobby. It's not the only way. We're all here for the same thing. We all have a passion for Pokemon, and I know this is just one of the many expressions of that passion for me personally. So you guys need to do what you love. That's what I'm going to do. I think that's the universal truth that can be taken away from this video. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this one. I'm Pokemon Classics, reminding you that the classics never go out of style. We'll see y'all with the next video. Till then, live well, be happy, have fun. Bye, everybody.